Balikan ang nakaraan. Mga tahanang binuo ng pangarap at mga alaala. Bawat haligi, bawat pundasyon. Bawat sulok may nagtatagong kwento. Tuklasin ang nakalipas sa mga tahanan ng kasaysayan. Napapaligiran ng mga matatayog na gusali ang isang lumang bahay sa Quezon City. Taong 1929 nang ipatayo ng pamilya Benitez ang kanilang dream house na mas kilala ngayong Mira Nila.
My name is Freddy Reyes, Benitez Reyes. So we're both fourth generation. Our great-grandfather and great-grandmother, Conrado Benitez and Francisca Tirona Benitez, were the ones who had built this place in 1929.
Sariwa pa sa alaala ng pamilya kung bakit tinawag na Mira Nila ang lumang bahay.
The reason it was called Mira Nila was because during the 1930s, then 18-year-old Tita Helen saw from the topmost point of the house, which is the tower, a big fire of the old Ateneo grounds. And then in Spanish, he said, Mira and Manila, Mira a Manila. And then that's where the name was derived from.
Sa bukana pa lang ng bahay, makikita na ang mga larawan ng mga maimpluwensyang kababaihan na nagsimula sa pamilya Benitez. Si Soledad Francia, ina ni Conrado Benitez. Si Francisca na isa sa mga nagtatag ng Philippine Women University o PWU at isa sa mga kilalang tagapagtanggol sa karapatan ng mga kababaihan. Ang kanyang anak naman na si Helena sumabak sa mundo ng politika at isa sa mga kauna-unahang babaeng senador ng bansa. Ang mga kalalakihan naman na miyembro ng pamilya Benitez, malaki ang naiambag sa paggawa ng saligang batas.
Actually, the house, if you see the facade outside, no, it was inspired by Italian villas. No? It was designed after Florentine villas that our great-grandmother saw from the magazines that were given to her by her sister in the early 1900s. No?
The tower, you will see it later on, has a real commanding view. On a clear day, I remember seeing the airport and then parts of the Manila Bay from here on a clear day.
Dalawa ang dining area sa loob ng lumang bahay. Madalas daw magpulong at mag-almusal ang dating senador na si Hil Puyat at Helena sa maliit na silid kainan.
I know there were a lot of foreign dignitaries also who would stay here because of Tita Helen's work as an ambassador of the UN, an ambassador elsewhere. So you can see quite an extensive collection. Through the years, Helena Benitez, through her travels, had purchased a number of items, plus a number of very irreplaceable portraits. There's a lot of pieces here that have a history on their own. And I believe also certain pieces here that Lola Francisca had bought to support the prisoners in Bilibid prison at some point. No?
Ito naman ang mas malaking silid kainan ng pamilya, kung saan madalas nagtitipon ang pamilya Benitez. Pero bukod sa laki ng lugar, agaw atensyon din ang ilan sa mga obra ni Botong Francisco. Sa kasalukuyan, dito rin idinaraos ang ilan sa mga mahahalagang okasyon ng pamilya tulad ng kasal o pagdiriwang ng Kapaskuhan.
Definitely. So aside from special events, Christmas or weddings, we would have Sunday dinners, Sunday lunches here.
sa ikalawang palapag ng Miranila House, mapapansin ang ilan sa mga larawang nagpapakita ng makulay na buhay ng pamilya Benitez. Bilang dating kinatawan din sa United Nations, si Helena Benitez at kilalang diplomat. Ilang bigating personalidad din ang kanyang nakasama.
Of course, it's, love of our culture and the way different cultures also affect and, we draw inspiration from, particularly since our grand aunt who primarily resided here, she was a UN ambassador, diplomat, and then she would all collect memorabilia from her visits and all that stuff. So I guess the takeaway would be, appreciation of all these things and different cultures and the way it affects us and the way it affects the way we treat each other.
So you have here Manuel Quezon. He was visiting Washington, D.C. in 37.
Okay.
And that's Ambassador Palace, Ambassador Hotel. He gave a banquet for Frank Murphy, who was the last resident commissioner of the U.S. here in the Philippines. Then you have Helena there. Helena was a very good friend of Baby Quezon.
I see.
And so when she was living in D.C., she was invited by Quezon.
Hindi rin naging madali para sa pamilya ang pag-aayos ng silid-aklatan sa loob ng bahay.
Two couples who started quite humbly and trying to, and through the history, gave huge contributions to this field of education.
Batid ng makabagong henerasyon ng pamilya Benitez na hindi matatawaran ang naging papel ng kanilang tahanan sa ilang mahahalagang kabanata ng kasaysayan.
When the war came upon the Philippines, then the Japanese took over this because it had a very commanding view. And as they say, there were 72 bombs that were placed around here. The U.S. First Cavalry was able to defuse all of them.
Pero katulad din ng karamihan sa mga lumang bahay, hindi birong oras at pera ang kailangang gugulin para mapanatiling maayos ang mira nila.
So it's very important to be able to preserve. So as you know, it costs money. Hence the need for this foundation that we had set up with the two of us as the younger members with our aunts to try and see if we can generate resources and revenues in order to help preserve.
Taong 2011, noong idineklarang Heritage House ang Mira Nila ng National Historical Commission of the Philippines. Sa paglipas ng panahon, unti-unti na ring nabuksan sa publiko ang lumang bahay.
It's very important, especially since it ties us to our past and for us, many or much of our identity is defined by that. And given the history of the house, the way it was lovingly built, cared for, and how much attention to detail is put into the house, especially all the items and memorabilia, I think it helps build better perspective, for the future generations and the times to come. And also, it allows us to appreciate more of the things we have, most especially family.
Ilang henerasyon ng mga kababaihang nakipaglaban para sa pantay na karapatan. Mga padre de pamilyang hindi maikakaila ang kontribusyon sa saligang batas at kalayaang ating tinatamasa. Ang apat na sulok ng mira nila, saksi sa kwento ng pamilyang inalay din ang buhay para sa kapwa. Bomba, bakbakan, bala. sa gitna ng kaguluhan noong ikalawang digmaang pandaigdig. Milagrong nakaligtas ang bayan ng Santa Ana mula sa pinsala ng giyera at puwersa ng Hapon. At hanggang ngayon, may mga tinaguriang bahay na bato ang nananatiling nakatindig sa lugar, tulad na lang ng bahay ng pamilya Lichauco. Para sa may-ari ng bahay at 107 taong gulang na si Jessie Lichauco, parang kahapon lang ang lahat.
We couldn't recover what we lost, no. We couldn't recover that. What we had to recover was the courage to go on and try to rebuild and not blame anybody.
Nagsilbing kanlungan at pansamantalang ospital noong panahon ng giyera ang Lichauco House. Isa si Jessie sa mga tumulong sa mga sugatan noong kasagsagan ng digmaan.
My parents moved into the house during the war in 1945, during Battle of Manila. The house was abandoned, so they moved in, and that way they were able to save it, and with all the evacuees going on apparently.
Taong 1859 nang unang itinayo ng pamilya O'Brien ang bahay. 1940 naman ang binili ito ng padre de pamilya ng mga Lichauco na si Marshall. Unang nagsilbi bilang diplomat si Marshall at naging bahagi din ng pamahalaang revolusyonaryo ni dating Pangulong Emilio Aguinaldo.
My grandfather was the first Filipino to go to Harvard undergrad and law school, and he was a very good speaker. He was asked to be part of the OSROX mission, which was the last in a series of independence missions where the Philippines was lobbying for independence from the American government.
Sa dokumentaryong Curiosity, Adventure, and Love, isinalaysay ni Jessie ang makulay na kwento ng kanilang pamilya. Sa tulong din ng kanyang apo na si Sunshine na siyang nagdirect at gumawa ng dokumentaryo, nalaman ng publiko ang tunay na kwento sa loob ng lumang bahay.
A lot of people don't know much about Philippine history at all, both in the Philippines and outside the Philippines. So I thought that Nana's memories of history brought it to life and captured people. And so she became the perfect tool through which to get people interested in history. And I think that most of the history has been focused on martial law. EDSA is the more modern side.
18 taong gulang si Jessie nang makatuntong siya sa Pilipinas. Sa isang pantalan niya nakilala ang asawang si Marshall. Hindi man lumaki at isinilang sa Pilipinas, naging malapit sa puso ni Jessie ang mga Pilipino.
Such an adventure. Coming from little island that nobody ever hears about. Crossing all the oceans, all the skies. Shaking hands with the queens and the kings. I came to the Philippines chasing a rainbow. I was 18 when I came here. And more or less I have lived a life that was sort of a dream.
My mother, who was not a citizen at the time, but a foreigner in our country, also served the country.
May kanya-kanyang buhay na ang mga anak ni Jessie at Marshall, pero sa tuwing bumibisita sila sa lumang bahay, tila bumabalik daw ang kanilang masasaya at hindi malilimutang ala-ala.
My mother was a very hands-on mother, despite the fact that we had a nurse, a governor, a yaya, because we were so many, and my parents traveled a lot, but when she was home, she was always involved with us.
Why do you believe in helping children so much?
So they grow up to be good people. And many of them, if you don't help them, they won't even grow up. They're helpless. They're our future.
Well, my father was very organized, very strict. Everything was planned. There was always an agenda. My mom was more like a Forrest Gump. She flew, went with the flow, went with the wind.
Para naman sa apo ni Jessie na si Sunshine, ang kanilang lumang bahay ang nagsisilbing tulay sa kanyang kahapon.
First memory is the tree, which as you can see right now, Nana likes to sit here. I call this Nana's corner. And she likes to sit here and she says when the wind blows and the leaves move, it's like the tree's doing a ballet. In the living room, we'd play board games. I still love to walk barefoot. Nana always encourages people to take their shoes off and walk on these wooden planks because it feels like silk. And they're all one huge piece of wood, so you can imagine how big the tree was that made this.
Wood like that now.
So I used to come and slide across the floor.
Taong 2010, nang idineklarang Heritage House ang bahay ng pamilya Lichauco ng National Historical Commission of the Philippines. Ang Lichauco House ang isa sa mga iilan na lang sa mga natitirang lumang bahay sa Santa Ana na unti-unting binabago na ng modernisasyon.
So it was my link to the Philippines. This is where I would come and stay. The minute you're here, you're looking at history.
Yeah.
But because Nana's here and she's so old and she's in the present, you're sort of looking at history, the present, and the future all at the same time. Everything's old and everything has a story.
At ang kanilang kahilingan, manatili ang alaala, kwento at makulay na kasaysayan, hindi lamang sa bawat miyembro ng pamilya, kundi maging sa bawat Pilipinong matutuklasan ang bahay Lichauco sa puso ng Santa Ana.
Why are you doing this? I can't turn a blind eye, Sergio.
Sa pelikula man o sa mga pahina ng libro ng kasaysayan, nakaukit na ang pangalan ni dating Pangulong Manuel L. Quezon, ang itinuturing na ikalawang Pangulo ng bansa. Siya'y namuno sa pamahalaang Commonwealth, panahon kung kailan isinali ng mananakop na Amerikano ang pamumuno ng bansa sa kamay ng mga Pilipino. Pero hindi lahat ng kwento tungkol sa pamilya Quezon ay mababasa sa mga aklat. Ang ilang alaala makikita sa mga tahanan ng pamilya. Katulad na lang ng Quezon Heritage House.
This house was not really lived in by my lolo, except na binili niya to dahil nung malaman na may tuberculosis siya, sabi ng mga doktor, kailangan mo ng isang lugar na maaliwalas at malinis ang hangin. Eh, noong mga panahon na yun, yung New Manila, ganun pa, malinis pa hangin at maaliwalas na lugar.
Ang Quezon Heritage House, hitik sa masasayang alaala at kwento ng tagumpay ng pamilya.
Ang naalala ko dito ako lumaki at ang dami namin, 8 kami. So, 9 kami, kasama na yung mga barkada ng 9 na yun, laging pulong-pulo itong bahay na to. Masaya na bahay ito, although sa gabi, yung mga bata kami, natatakot yung mga klase namin dahil baka daw may multo. Pero hindi ba yun ang laging nangyayari sa mga old houses? Itong bahay na to, maraming magandang nangyari ito at maligayang nangyari dito. Tulad ng dito nakilala ng aking lola, ang unang apo niya, ang kuya ko na si Boom, si Felipe Camino IV. Dito tinatag ang Red Cross sa mga pagpupulong dyan sa recreation hall sa labas.
Pero ang bahay pahingahan, saksi rin sa trahedyang pinagdaanan ng pamilya Quezon. Tulad ng mapapait na saglit na nagbago sa buhay ng kanilang pamilya.
Sa isang kisap mata, ay nawala ang lola ko, ang nanay ng aking ina, ang kanyang asawa at ang kanyang kaisa-isang kapatid na babae. Mula dito sa bahay na sila, umalis sila papuntang Baler. At yun ang huling beses na sila makaapak dito dahil sila tinambangan at pinaslang sa Bungabong, Bisiha.
Mula sa pamamalagi sa Amerika, ang weekend house ng mga Quezon ang naging tahanan nang sila ay bumalik ng Pilipinas.
Pero pagkatapos ng gera, nung nasa exile ang pamilya at namatay ng Pangulong Quezon doon sa Amerika, pag-uwi dito, ito na lang ang bahay na natira.
Sa bahay rin na ito, unti-unting nakabangon ang pamilya.
At marami magandang simulain itong bahay na ito. Ngunit ito rin ang bahay ng nagmarka nung katapusan ng kanilang buhay, ng lola ko. At simula ng bagong buhay sa bagong pamilya ng aking ina, nang kanya'y pakasalan si Bert Abancerja. anak ni Chief Justice Ramon Abancena na aking ama.
Minsan ang binalak ng pamilya na ibenta ang lumang bahay. Pero sa pakikipag-usap sa mga opisyal ng Quezon City, napagkasundo ang ilipat at pangalagaan ang bahay sa mismong sentro ng syudad.
We are very lucky kasi the Quezon Heritage House is one of the tourist destination dito sa Quezon Memorial Circle na alam naman natin, the name itself na sinasabi natin Quezon was a tribute to the founder of our city, President Manuel L. Quezon.
Metikuloso at mabusisi ang pinagdaanang proseso bago nasimulang ilipat ang lumang bahay noong 2013.
Marami, pero technically na lang, this is a solid concrete foundation, all the walls you see. Para tibagin yan, siguro 2 backhoe ang nasira. Tapos, yung mga jackhammers were working continuously. It was a challenge just demolishing it. And then putting it back here piece by piece. Everything from what you see from the floor down, the tiles, one by one. Wala all lahat kasi, if you see the wooden structure here, lahat yan frame by frame. Nilipat dito. Challenging yung bubong. Kasi it was solid steel, girders. And it would not fit the vehicles. No, you can see, 2 or 4 pieces yan. I-transport lang, kahit napakalapit ng Gilmore, lipat dito. Napakahirap.
Malaking tulong daw sa turismo ng Quezon City ang pagbubukas ng Quezon Heritage House sa publiko dahil nakilala ng mga tao ang tinaguriang ama ng lungsod sa pagbisita sa kanyang tahanan.
Itong Quezon Heritage House na nagpapakilala o nakikita natin na it's a living edifice or witness doon sa ano ba ang naging role ni President Manuel L. Quezon.
Yun lagi kiniisip ko pag makita ko yung mga bata, parang, oh, ang galing, tuwan-tuwa sila. Tapos parang may connection sila sa kasaysayan, di ba? Iba yung nasa paaralan ka, tinuturo sa'yo ganito, etong petsa, buhay, etong ginawa. Pero iba yung naglalakad sila dito, nakita, o dito, etong kama, dito natutulog, eto yung ginagawa dito. Parang may connection sila. So yan ang pinakamaganda nangyari dito.
Dasal ng pamilya Quezon, sana'y mas maraming makasaysayang bahay ang masagip at mapangalagaan sa tulong ng lokal na pamahalaan.
Maraming mga success stories eh. Sa Iloilo, there's a whole district there na hindi na naginiba. Nagbigay ng rebate sa taxes, nagbigay ng incentives. Pagkatapos, ang kadalasan nangyayari ngayon, di ba, yung gigibayin pero ililipat ang mga local government ay kung saan merong heritage house dyan, hanggat maaari, manatili doon.
Pamana, kanlungan. Ala-ala sa paglipas ng panahon, sa gitna ng hamon ng pagbabago at modernisasyon, mananatiling nakatayo ang mga lumang bahay sa kwento ng kabiguan at tagumpay. Pinky Webb, CNN Philippines.